So let us start looking into functions. Functions are very important topic in any database. For most of the repetitive tasks, underlying database technology provide functionality on the name of functions. So if you want to get the list of the functions, you can uh, connect to Hive and then run this command called show functions. Okay, and these are the functions that are available, and most of them are in line with any other existing database technology such as Oracle, MySQL, uh, SQL Server, etc. So if you are already familiar with the functions in other databases, most likely you will understand most of the functions. And I'll be covering some of the categories such as string functions, aggregate functions, um, and date functions, etc. as we proceed further. Okay, so in these functions, so you can categorize all of them into these several categories, such as aggregate functions. Examples for aggregate functions are count, which we have seen as part of the earlier topics, sum, average, etc. So AVG for average, there is a function sum, etc. Okay, these are all aggregate functions, which means that it takes multiple values from different records and then do some aggregation on top of it. And another category is string functions, which means it take a string and do some transformation on it and returns something else as output. For each string, you will return uh, one transformed record of any data type as output. Okay, those are categorized as string functions. Similarly, we have a category of date functions, and so on and so forth. So if you want to get syntax and semantics of any function, okay, you can use something called describe function. And let's take one function as example, which is very well known, um, length. Okay, and if you just want to get syntax and semantics of that function, you just say describe function length. And you can see length takes either a string or a binary uh, argument. So this is the syntax. It means or. So the argument type can be a string or a binary. If it is string, it gives length of it. If it is binary, it will give number of bytes in that binary data. So this is the syntax, and this is the purpose of that function or semantics of that function. Okay. Now, if you want to test this function just by passing one string, you can say select length and then give a string. Strings have to be passed in single quotes, or if in Hive even double quotes work, but the traditional way of passing string in database is using single quote. So let me say hello world, and that's it. You don't need to use anything else. Semicolon and hit enter. You can see the output. So hello world have 11 characters including space, and it gave 11. Okay, so this is how you can actually test a function. If you want to apply the functions on a particular column, you just use the function name and give a column name which is of type string or binary, and then give the table name. So table orders have order status, which we have already seen. And in this case, I just want to see 100 records, so I'm using limit 100. And you can see that for each order status, what is the length of it. If you want to see both the data as well as length, you can just say order status comma length. You can see the column name and then the length. Okay, so this is how you can actually get the syntax and semantics as well as you can test a function. That being said, we will move on to other topics within the functions, and I will cover at least 3 to 4 categories such as aggregate functions, string functions, date functions, etc. And then we will move on to the next topic as part of the agenda, and uh, functions itself will spawn into multiple topics before we move on to other major topic beyond functions.